Get ready for a quick quest guide for the Monkey Madness 1 quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to Ape Atoll, the ability to buy from a shop and wield a dragon Scimitar, and 3 quest points. Additionally, speaking to Daero after the quest will reward you with 110k in combat experience spread across attack, defense, strength, and hit points. You'll need to have completed both the Grand Tree and the Tree Gnome Village quest before taking on this one, and while there are technically no skills required to take on this quest, having level 65 combat is recommended. On top of having a decent combat ability, I would very highly recommend having 43 prayer for access to all protection prayers, which will make this quest about 1,000,000 times easier. When it comes to items, you'll just need 1 gold bar and 1 ball of wool for each monkey speak amulet that you're making, so consider bringing 2 of each if you want a backup or a bank placeholder. Then there's a lot more that I would recommend. Firstly, you'll want around 8 to 10 prayer potions to help sustain your prayers throughout the quest, depending on your prayer level, with more needed the lower your prayer level is. To complement this, you might want to wear some cheap monk robes for their prayer bonus, as well as any other weight reducing armor that you have access to. If you don't have 43 prayer, then you'll instead need armor to protect you from melee and ranged attacks. Now, as there's lots of running around involved in this quest, I'd also highly recommend having around 6 stamina potions. You'll also want around 3 to 4 Superantipoisons or antidotes to help avoid poison throughout the quest. I should flag that you likely won't use every single one of these potions, but it's best to have access to them just in case. Additionally, you'll want to have access to around 50 pieces of high healing food for both traversing through the quest and the end boss fight, as well as armor and a weapon to defeat a level 195 jungle demon who attacks with melee and magic. I highly recommend opting for a ranged or magic setup for this fight, which makes for a much easier fight compared to using melee. Note that the jungle demon does have a weaker ranged defense than magic, but also consider your own levels when deciding on which style to use. Also, I really do not suggest using melee for this fight. While not essential, a potion to boost the combat style you're using for this fight can also come in handy. Then when it comes to teleports, I'd recommend 2 fully charged rings of dueling, which will allow for easy travel to the Grand Tree, easy access to a bank, and it can also act as an emergency teleport if needed too. Then you'll also want 1 Ardoon teleport. Finally, while not essential, you may want to bring 200k coins, which can act as a payment that allows you to skip a sliding puzzle. This being said, if you have RuneLite solving sliding puzzles for you, then you really won't need this. Now, you'll want to start the quest with most of this banked, and you'll just want to be wearing your monk robes and weight reducing gear, or alternatively melee armor if you're below 43 prayer. Then in your inventory, you'll want 2 stamina potions, 1 antidote or antipoison potion, 2 prayer potions, a good amount of food, and your ring of dueling. Finally, if you plan on skipping the puzzle, then bring along your 200k coins as well. Also, you'll want to have at least 3 empty inventory spaces at the quest start. Now you can begin this quest on the ground floor of the Grand Tree, located within the Tree Gnome stronghold. To start, talk to King Narnode Shireen, who asks you to find out what happened to the elite 10th squad he sent to dismantle Glauf's shipyard. After the chat, select yes to officially begin the quest, after which you'll receive a Gnome Royal Seal, and Chapter 1 will begin. Next, climb up the ladder 3 times and then select Glider on Captain Erdo, and then select Gandius to take the glider to Karamja. Now go a little west and kill a level 3 monkey roaming about, and then pick up either the bones or the monkey corpse that it drops. Next, run north to the shipyard, and once you arrive, try to open the gate to go in. The shipyard worker will stop you, but just spacebar through the dialogue, and because you have the Gnome Royal Seal, you'll be let in. Next, run into the small building just south of the gate and talk to GLO Karanok. Spacebar through the chat, whereby he says he'll decommission the shipyard while seeming kind of sus, and afterwards it's time to return to the king. First, use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Emmy's Arena or the Old Jewel Arena, and then run southwest to the Gnome Glider. Take the glider to the Grand Tree, and then after arriving, climb down the ladder 3 times in a row to reach the ground floor. Next, chat to King Narnode Shireen, and after going through some dialogue, he'll hand you Narnode's orders and tell you to give them to Daero. Climb up the ladder once and then run southeast on the tree to a bar where Daero will be hanging about. Talk to Daero and after some chat you'll hand over the orders. And then after a bit more chatter, select the following dialogue options. Firstly, talk about the journey, then return to previous menu, then talk about the 10th squad, and again return to previous menu, then talk about Zooknock, and again return to previous menu, then select leave, and finally after some more chatter ask who is it. After the chat you'll be blindfolded and taken into a new location, the hangar. Now right click and select to talk to Daero, and then spacebar through a relatively long chat with him and Wadar. Now to get the hangar working you have two options. The first is to pay 200k coins to glow back at the Grand Tree. You can get to the Grand Tree by using the teleportation device at the southern area of the hangar, and afterwards you would just want to run east to Glow's house, chat to him and pay the fee, before returning to Daero and selecting travel to arrive back at the hangar. The other option is to operate the reinitialization panel within the room and solve the sliding puzzle you're presented with. Provided you have RuneLight, then you'll have the client pretty much solve it, as you'll just need to click the arrows, but if you're solving it manually yourself then you'll want to start by solving the top row, then the second row, then the third row, then the bottom left 4 tiles, and then the final 6 on the bottom right. Once you've either paid glow or solved the puzzle yourself, a short cutscene will then occur. After it finishes, chat to Daero and go through the dialogue. Then talk to Wadar and after some chatter select yes to fly to Crash Island. Now chat to Lumdo of the 10th squad right next to where you arrived and go through the chat, where he reveals the squad did crash and the other squad members are all on the nearby Ape Atoll. After the chat finishes, go and talk to Wadar. After the initial chat finishes, right-click Wadar and select to talk to him again, and then say, I cannot convince Lumdo to take us to the island, and go through all of the dialogue. This will lead to a cutscene back at the shipyard, whereby GLO Zooknock is revealed to be a little more evil than he first let on. The ships are still being made, and he's planning something. After the cutscene ends, you'll arrive on Ape Atoll, and chapter 2 of the quest will begin. It's time for the monkeys. Firstly, run a little southwest until you reach the coastline, and then continue running a longer ways west all the way until you're just past the most western rare tree sign on the atoll. From here, you'll want to run north until you reach a cliff, and once you reach it, pop on your protect from ranged prayer and follow the cliff wall by going northeast. Once you're getting hit by a couple of arrows, you can stop, and eventually you'll black out and end up in the Ape Atoll jail next to a few other members of the 10th squad. Firstly, know that even while in the cell, stay away from the outer wall that the gorilla is patrolling, as if you stand too close you'll be attacked and he hits hard. Now we need to break out of the jail. Start by standing one tile back from the jail door, and then wait until you see the gorilla go west at the top of the room, which indicates that the two gorillas are changing over who's guarding the prison. This will give you enough time to pick the lock, and then stand just around the corner along the western wall of the cell you were just in. Now stand in wait for a while, and you're looking for the gorillas to change over once again. When the gorilla turns west at the top of the room, it's time to go. Pop on protect from Meelee and then run all the way out of the prison as fast as possible. As soon as you're out, go a tad north and then run east around the prison. Then continue east and stand just to the east of the crafting shop. Now turn on protect from ranged and run a little south, then southeast, and then east, hugging the perimeter of the large temple to your east. Finally, run a tad south where you'll see a gnome named Garkor. Turn off your protection prayer and then talk to Garkor and go through the rather long dialogue, where he says he wants help freeing his gnome friends in the prison, and that he needs a monkey insider. After the chat's finished, pop on your protect from ranged prayer and go just north of the building, and then run west past the monkey archer until you reach a large square-shaped building with a doorway to its south. Be careful of the level 38 scorpions though, as they're small and hard to spot but hit like a truck. Open the doorway to go inside and then you can turn your prayer off. Now take note of how the floor has two colors, and I'll turn off my RuneLight HD graphics here so it's more obvious. At all times avoid stepping on the light colored tiles, else you'll be thrown back in prison and have to break out of jail all over again and make your way back. Run east to the eastern wall of the room, and after arriving, turn your attention to the only stack of crates that's on the lightly coloured floor. Click to stand on the tile to the east of it, and then choose to search the crate, which will be full of monkey dentures. Take a monkey denture for every monkey speak amulet that you plan on making, and then I'd also suggest taking a couple of extra just as backups. Now run to the southeastern corner of the room. Ensure you have at least 15 hit points, and then search the crate directly to your northwest before selecting yes, I'm sure to drop down through the hole. Once here, run northwest where you'll see a huge amount of crates in the corner. Stand south of the stalagmite and then search the crate directly south of yourself to find it full of amulet molds. Select yes to take one, and then repeat this to take a second as a backup. Now it's time to get off the island. Use your ring of dueling to teleport to the Ferox Enclave, and then run a little ways west to the bank. Just north of the bank in the chapel is a pool of refreshment, and just south of this bank is the white free-for-all Clan Wars portal. Either drink from the pool of refreshment or enter into the white portal and then exit out of it to refresh all of your stats. And afterwards it's bank time. You can deposit your monkey bones and gnome seal and any backup monkey dentures and molds that you took. Note that you still want to have a mold in your inventory as well as a monkey denture for each monkey speak amulet that you plan on making, so at least one but possibly two. Then withdraw a gold bar for each monkey speak amulet you're making, and additionally keep your charged ring of dueling on hand. You'll also want to stock up on stamina, Superantipoison and prayer potions. I'd suggest having around 2 stamina potions, 1 Superantipoison potion or antidote, and 2 prayer potions, as well as a decent amount of good food. Keep wearing your monk robes and weight reducing armor unless you don't have access to protection prayers. In that case, bring along more food and also wear armor with better defensive bonuses. Now let's return all the way to Ape Atoll. Firstly, by using your ring of dueling to teleport to Emmy's arena before running west to the gnome glider and taking it to the Grand Tree. After arriving, climb down the ladder twice and run southeast to Daero at the bar. Select travel on Daero to wind up at the hangar, then select travel on Wader to wind up at Crash Island, and then select travel on Lumdo to arrive back at Ape Atoll. Yes, it is a journey. Now turn on Protect from Meelee and run a little ways west until you come across a dungeon sign, and then make a beeline for it and go down into the dungeon. Now get ready for the longest run of your life, and for the entire run make sure that your Protect from Meelee prayer stays on. Start by running east, and at the first fork in the road go north. From this point on there are no more forks, and you just have to keep following the super insanely long winding path all the way through the dungeon. Make sure you sip your stamina potions as needed to keep yourself running at all times, and your prayer potions to keep your Protect from Meelee active. With this on, no monsters in the dungeon can harm you, though you may still be poisoned from tiny spiders, so drink a Superantipoison if needed. Additionally, the roof will shake from time to time and you'll take a small amount of damage from falling rocks. You can negate this by standing under the covered sections in the cave that you can run under, but honestly I would just ignore the small amount of damage. You'll also run into spike traps which are easy to spot on the ground. Simply try to avoid running on them, as doing so will see you take a small amount of damage and poison you if you don't have immunity. There are also 2 sections late in the cave where you'll see a rock. For these, stand 1 tile before it and then run over it in one go. Under no circumstance park yourself on the rock and stand still, as you'll be hit rapid damage. Once you reach the end of the dungeon, the ceiling will stop shaking, and you'll find Zooknock and a few of his gnome friends hanging about. Talk to Zooknock and spacebar through the very long chat where he explains that he can help you make a monkey amulet and talisman. Once your options are to ask questions about the amulet and talisman, simply click away to cancel the chat. Next, use your monkey dentures, your gold bar, and additionally your monkey amulet mold on Zooknock, and then spacebar through the chat with him. After a short moment, he will hand back an enchanted bar and the amulet mold. Importantly, if you're making multiple amulets, then momentarily drop your enchanted bar on the ground. Once it's on the ground, then talk to Zooknock and begin by saying, "I've lost the monkey amulet." amulet, before then selecting yes to confirm that you're sure. Afterwards again use your monkey dentures, your gold bar and your monkey amulet on Zooknock and then spacebar through the chat with him. Once again, after a short moment, he will hand back an enchanted bar and the amulet mold. Then simply pick up the enchanted bar that you had left on the ground and you'll have 2 enchanted bars. Now teleport back to the Ferox Enclave and just as you did before, run a little ways west and either use the pool of refreshment in the chapel or hop into and out of the clan wars free-for-all portal to refresh your stats. Then check your supplies, and if needed, bank to stock up on anything that's low. Ensure your Ring of Dueling has at least a few charges left, that you have around 2 stamina potions, 2 prayer potions, a few doses of Superantipoison or Antidote, and a good amount of food. You'll also want to withdraw a ball of wool for each monkey speak amulet that you're making. Additionally, keep your enchanted bars and your monkey amulet mold in your inventory as well. Now just as we did before, let's return all the way back to Ape Atoll. Firstly by using your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Emir's Arena, before running west to the Gnome Glider and taking it to the Grand Tree. After arriving, climb down the ladder twice and run southeast to visit Daero at the bar. Select Travel on Daero to wind up at the hangar, then select Travel on Wader to wind up at Crash Island, and then select Travel on Lumdo to arrive back at Ape Atoll. After arriving, we need to get locked back up, so just as you did earlier, run a little way southwest and then follow the coastline further west all the way until you're just past the most western rare tree sign on Ape Atoll. From here, you'll want to run north until you reach a cliff, and once you reach it, pop on your Protect from Ranged prayer and follow the cliff wall by going northeast, whereby again you'll get struck down by arrows and end up back in jail. Break out of jail just as you did before. If you're quick, you can pick the lock of the prison door as the guard walks away from you, and quickly get into position to run out as soon as he turns to walk west. Make sure to have your Meelee protection prayer on and be careful not to go too soon or you might get plonked back in jail. As soon as you're out, go north and loop east around the prison and stand just to the east of the crafting shop as you have previously. Now keep your Protect from Meelee prayer active and then run into the temple to your east and head to the most southern part of the temple that has a ladder and go up it. Run northeast where you'll see a ladder leading back down to the floor below. But before you go down it, it's super important that your Protect from Meelee is on, or that you have your defensive armor on and the highest health possible. Yes, you're about to be attacked a lot. Go down the ladder and then instantly open and go down the trapdoor to your east. As soon as you're down, go south where you'll find a huge fire. Use all of your enchanted bars on the fire, and doing this will turn them into monkey speak amulets. Afterwards, climb back up the rope and then run west and exit out of the temple. It can be a bit tricky and require some unique pathing because you can't walk through a lot of the gorillas. As soon as you're out of the temple, run north and then run west above the jail and continue west until you're on top of the lighter run-down building, before entering into it from the north. Here you can turn off your Protect from Meelee prayer, and then use your balls of wool on your monkey speak amulet to turn them into wearable necklaces, before putting one on. Now go into the western corridor and pay attention to the banana plantation attached to a small hut. A monkey child will be hanging out in the plantation, and their aunt will rotate between being in the plantation and being in the hut. Now this next step needs to be done relatively quickly. You'll want to wait until the aunt has just left the plantation, and then pick 5 bananas from the banana trees. Once picked, quickly talk to the monkey child and skip through the chat. Then talk to the monkey again and go through the chat before saying, "Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle." Then talk to the monkey a 3rd time and go through the chat before asking, "How many bananas did auntie want?" and continuing through the rest of the chat. Finally talk to the monkey child a 4th time to hand him 5 bananas. Again spacebarring through the chat as fast as possible. Now go back to your hidden corridor and wait wait for the monkey's aunt to pass through the banana plantation one more time. There is a chance that if you cut it too close like I did, you might have to wait for her to pass through 2 times, but once she's left the plantation, go and speak to the monkey child again and spacebar through the chat. And this will see the monkey child hand you a monkey talisman. Monkey talisman in hand, use your ring of dueling to teleport to the Ferox Enclave, and as usual run west and either use the rejuvenation pool in the chapel or hop into and out of the Clan Wars free-for-all portal to refresh your stats. And now it's time for a quick bank in preparation for the next steps, where again you'll need to return to Zooknock and then do a lot of running. You'll want to keep wearing your monk robes and monkey speak amulet, though you can deposit any duplicate amulets. Keep your monkey talisman on you too, and then withdraw your monkey bones from earlier. Some advance warning to be careful to never bury these. Additionally, make sure your ring of dueling has a few charges, and also withdraw 1 Ardoon teleport. Then deposit your monkey amulet mold and ensure you have supplies for another run through the cave to Zooknock and some further running after. I'd suggest 3 stamina potions, 2 prayer potions, and a few doses of Superantipoison or Antidote. Then fill the rest of your inventory with food. If you don't have access to protection prayers, then again consider bringing along more food and also wearing armor with better defensive bonuses. Then let's return all the way to Ape Atoll. Firstly by using your ring of dueling to teleport to Emmy's arena, before running west to the gnome glider and taking it to the grand tree. After arriving, climb down the ladder twice and then run southeast to Daero at the bar. Select travel on Daero to wind up at the hangar, then select travel on Wader to wind up at Crash Island, and then select travel on Lumdo to arrive back at Ape Atoll. Just as you did before, turn on Protect from Meelee and run a little ways west until you come across a dungeon sign, and then go down into the dungeon. Then you know the drill. Keep your Protect from Meelee prayer on and run east, before running north at the first fork in the road, and then following the winding cave all the way to Zooknock at the end. Remember to drink your stamina potions in order to keep your run energy nice and high, and your prayer potions to keep your Protect from Meelee prayer active at all times. Ignore the small amount of damage from the crumbling ceiling, try to avoid stepping on the spike traps, and avoid the rock traps by standing 1 tile before them and then running across them in one go. Or just face tank all the traps and eat a bit more food. That's okay too. Eat food as needed, and before long you'll be back at Zooknock. Before progressing, know that under no circumstance do you want to end the upcoming dialogues early, or else you'll lose your items. Again, do not end the chat early. Firstly, use your monkey talisman on Zooknock and then spacebar through the chat. Then, being careful not to bury them, right click and select to use your monkey bones, and then use them with Zooknock. And again spacebar through the chat. After a short moment, he will create a monkey talisman and hand it to you. And after spacebarring through the dialogue, part 3 of the quest will begin, with another cutscene kicking off. In the cutscene, GLO Karanok meets with Wader, and it's revealed that Wader is a gnome trader as well, with the pair planning to eliminate the 10th squad and blame it on none other than yourself. Chapter 3, where you get to live your best monkey life begins, and you'll now notice a Karamjan monkey Greegree in your inventory. Holding this will transform you into a monkey on Ape Atoll and other select locations, but note that if you teleport to a place it doesn't work, then it'll be popped into your inventories, or if your inventory is full, it'll be dropped on the ground, which is a good way to accidentally lose it. So be mindful of that, and as a general rule, ensure you always have a free inventory space when teleporting while holding this. Next, teleport to Ardoon and then run mostly west and also a little bit south, and then go into the Ardoon Zoo, and you'll see a monkey habitat right near the entrance. Once you're near the monkey exhibit, select to hold your monkey Greegree to transform into a monkey, and then talk to the monkey minder nearby and go through the chat, which will see him throw you into the monkey habitat. From here, choose to talk to a monkey and go through the dialogue, which will see the monkey hop into your inventory and occasionally talk to you. Now unequip your monkey Greegree to transform back into a human, and then talk to the monkey minder who will remove you from the cage. Next, it's time to travel on foot to the Grand Tree. That's right, no teleports of any kind are allowed because if they're used, then the monkey in your backpack will disappear. Start by running north in Ardoon, going west across the bridge towards the castle and continuing north out of Ardoon. Afterwards run west and then a little northwest to reach the entrance of the Tree Gnome stronghold, before then opening the gate to go inside. Finally run to the northeastern area of the stronghold to reach the Grand Tree. Enter into the main Grand Tree building and go up the ladder, before then running southeast to Daero at the bar. Select travel on Daero to wind up at the hangar, then select travel on Wader to wind up at Crash Island, and then select travel on Lumdo to arrive back at Ape Atoll. Upon arrival, equip your monkey Greegree to turn into a monkey, and as a monkey you won't be attacked on Ape Atoll, which we love. Now in monkey form, simply run west and then a little north to arrive at the bamboo gates. This time the monkey archers won't attack you. Select open on the bamboo gates and you'll be let through. Next run a long ways east back to Garkor, who is a little south of the temple. As you're a monkey you can run there any way you like. Talk to Garkor and go through the chat, and afterwards around the corner to your southwest you'll find an Elder Guard. Talk to the Elder Guard and go through the chat, whereby you'll ask to speak with King Awowaji, but you won't be allowed. Following the chat, run around the guard and then continue running a long ways west all the way until you reach the coast, and then go a little bit south until you see a path up a hill to your east. Run east up the hill and then go north until you see a bamboo structure, and then go up the bamboo ladder onto it before running east across the bridge to the other side. Then go down the ladder, and on the other side here you should find a monkey named Kruk hanging out. Talk to Kruk and go through the dialogue, where you'll seek an audience with King Awowage and be taken to him. After arriving, chat to Awowage and go through the long chat where you'll propose an alliance. However, he wants you to free a monkey from Ardoon Zoo first. As you've already done this, when the chat ends, talk to Awowage again and go through the dialogue, whereby he will allow you to roam free on Ape Atoll as a monkey and says he'll consider the alliance. Go a tad south and chat to the Elder Guard, who will let you out, and then head a tad northeast around the corner and chat to Garkor. He praises you, but this then leads into a cutscene showcasing another big problem. Here GLO Karanok and Wader meet with Awowage and successfully convince him to join in on their plan to kill the gnomes in captivity along with the rest of the 10th squad. Awowage is in on it, and the Monkey King is given access to one of Glow's pets and magic that teleports all members of the 10th squad to a single location. When the cutscene ends, chapter 4 begins, and it's time for the final battle. Talk to Garkor and go through the chat, who will hand you a 10th squad sigil so that when the squad is teleported, you will be too. Do not try to wear the sigil yet, because you will need to prepare first. Ensure that you have at least one free inventory space and then use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to the Ferox Enclave before running west and using the Pool of Refreshment or going into and out of the Clan Wars portal to reset your stats. Next, it's time to bank and grab supplies for the final fight. You can deposit your Monkey Speak Amulet and Monkey Greegree, but keep the sigil in your inventory. Ideally for this final fight, you will want to use ranged or magic, all the while standing far away from the demon and praying protect from magic and a boosting prayer of your attack style type. As such, bring your weapon and armor to complement your attack style for the final fight. To sustain your prayers throughout the fight, bring along around 3 prayer potions, and then also make sure you have a decent amount of food. Optionally, you can also bring a potion to boost the combat style that you're using. Also bring along your Ring of Dueling, both to act as an emergency teleport if required, and also to get you back to the Grand Tree after the fight. Plus, you'll need your 10th squad sigil. When you're ready, pop on your Protect from Magic prayer and select to wear your 10th squad sigil before selecting yes. You'll be teleported into an arena with the demon. One option is to just stand right where you landed with Protect from Magic active and attack the jungle demon with ranged or magic until it's defeated. Note that this jungle demon can attack you with melee from 2 tiles away, so don't get too close. Another option is to run to the southwestern corner of the room where the demon can't reach you, and here the members of the 10th squad will whittle the jungle demon down. However, know that you will have to get back on the platform to deal the last hit on the jungle demon. If a gnome gets the last hit, the demon won't die, but rather will regenerate around 15% of its health. After you defeat the demon, take a second to celebrate, and then use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Emmy's arena and run a little ways southwest and take the glider to the Grand Tree. After arriving, go down the ladder 3 times and then speak to King Narnode Shireen. Spacebar through the rather long dialogue with him whereby you relay everything that just happened. Then after the chat finishes, bam, quest complete. You'll be awarded access to Ape Atoll, the ability to buy from a shop and wield a dragon scimitar, 10k coins, 3 diamonds, and 3 quest points. Additionally, speaking to Daero after the quest will reward you with 110k in combat experience across attack, defense, strength, and hit points. Should you want this experience, you'll want to head up the ladder once more and run southeast to Daero at the bar and chat to him. Start by saying, I want to sign up for the training program, and then continue with the chat. You then have a choice. Choosing focus on increasing strength and stamina will provide you with 35,000 experience in strength and hit points and 20,000 experience in attack and defense. If you instead choose to focus on improving attack and defense, then you'll gain 35,000 experience in attack and defense and 20,000 experience in strength and hit points. Choose whichever one you like. Then after a short moment, you'll get the experience. Note that over on Ape Atoll, you'll be able to purchase a dragon scimitar for 100k coins, although it's cheaper to buy on the Grand Exchange. Also on Ape Atoll, you'll be able to buy monkey talismans and monkey dentures from 2Tab's Magical Market. Congrats on completing Monkey Madness 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next quest.